What's going on, guys? Afflicted here. We are back once again with another YouTube video. I'm excited, guys. It's been a long time since our last video, which was Path to Exile, I believe, was the game. The one before that was a Conquer Online video, and then we have WoW videos on the channel. A lot of jumping around with different content, so if you're a new subscriber or if you've subscribed in the past and you're just kind of checking out these new videos, thanks for watching, first of all, but also just keep in mind that the videos that I make are really based around what interests me at the time. So right now, Magic Online has my interest. If you are interested in a game or content that I've made in the past, please feel free to let me know and I'll be happy to revisit that. But really the videos that I make are more for myself than anything. I like expressing myself in this way. And yeah, it just helps me get my creative outlet out there for whatever game I'm really interested in at the time, which right now is Magic the Gathering. If you're familiar, card game, look into it. If you're not, it's awesome. So this video is going to be a Magic Online League. It's going to be modern format, and basically a little backstory. I'm doing some research. What deck should I be buying into in paper? The new set just come out, Modern Horizons 2, a lot of new cards, a lot of new decks, very exciting changes to the format, and so I'm really looking forward to trying out some different decks, different cards. I'm going to jump into a league and see how this deck performs. The deck we have today is going to be a Sultai Wilderness Reclamation deck. It's essentially a Sultai control deck with a combo finish based around Wilderness Reclamation, untapping your lands. Blue Sun Zenith can have your opponent mill out their entire deck, and we can loop turns with Nexus of Fate, beat in with Creeping Tar Pit, get some damage in there with Snapcaster Mage. So it's going to be fun. A lot of value to be had here. A couple new cards in the deck from Modern Horizons 2, or just new in general, but Counterspell is legal. We play one of a lot of different instant spells just due to our mystical teachings, which can tutor up a card with flash or an instant. So that includes Night Pack Ambushers, which is one of our finishers. I'm really excited about this card. Try it out, see how it does. So we're going to jump right in, guys. One thing to note before we jump into the league, Sideboard Plans. If you guys have paid attention to any of the results recently, you've seen a lot of Urza. A lot of the food decks, which those are kind of intertwined with Asmore. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that new card. The Asmore decks, Titan decks, and Mill. So the Kozilek in the sideboard is specifically designed against Mill. It's actually everywhere. I played the Modern Challenge yesterday, and I faced 3 different Mill decks. So I think that Mill is actually really well positioned, specifically against Titan. So yeah, we're going to jump right in, guys, and I will see you for match number 1. Thanks for watching. Alright, guys, welcome to match number 1 here in our Sultai Wilderness Reclamation test drive. We are on the draw with a decent hand. It's pretty slow. We do have removal, we do have Wilderness Reclamation, we do have all the colors of mana we need, so we'll go ahead and keep. Good luck to our opponent here. It's going to be a fun one. One thing I will say about this deck is it is slow to finish. Concealed Courtyard from our opponent. Grief, Ephemerate, Shenanigans, it looks like. So our hand is going to be completely stripped of everything except our lands. So that's a heck of a way to start the game. Okay. Let's see what we draw here for the turn. Fail Push will be an excellent draw. We do play 4 of in the main. Okay, Field of Ruin. Play Tar Pit and pass. So we know they have a Tide Hollow Sculler that they exiled to Grief. So they're going to Thoughtseize us again, but we drew a land. So we are F6ing here. I kind of refer to this start as Exodia, because for them to have exactly Ephemerate, Grief, another black card, and the correct land to play on turn 1, that you have to have the exact 4 cards there. Okay, so we draw a land. They're going to be putting a hasty 5/5 into play. It's just, yeah. There's nothing we can do there. They had the exact start that they needed. Oh, wow. What do we even have for this matchup? Maybe Dispel for exactly Ephemerate. Devour Flesh could be pretty good for the Edict. Echoing Decay does kill Stoneforge. This is going to be a tricky one, that's for sure. I think we'll probably side like this, just the relevant cards that we can actually play in. What do we want to take out here? So it's going to be a big time grindy grind fest here. What 3 cards do we want to cut? I think really we can trim more so than anything else. Maybe we trim down on a Cryptic. Trim a Snapcaster Mage. Maybe a Mystical Teachings. Try it like this, just go more so into a control deck. Okay, so we're on the play this game. Well, this deck really does, or this hand really doesn't do anything. I hate to mulligan against a Thoughtseize deck, though. I think we'll just keep it. See if they have Exodia again. Our opponent mulligans to 5 so far. Looking for that Exodia start. The Voltron, if you will. Okay. Okay, we will go ahead and start off with Misty and pass. Okay, opponent starts with 5 cards in hand. So just to recap, the Exodia start, Grief, Ephemerate, the correct land that produces both colors, another black card as well. So that's 4. Okay, Esper Sentinel for our opponent. Certainly a good card in the matchup for them. Nice little card advantage engine. Archmage's Charm, interesting. Okay. Interesting that they fetched up a Plains. They must have at least a couple lands in their hand. Godless Shrine, sure. Tidehollow Sculler, okay. I'm guessing taking our Archmage's Charm. But Echoing Decay is going to be pretty good, I think. This matchup. Okay, takes our Charm. A little unfortunate. Looking for Fatal Push here. Okay. We drew the Fatal Push, so we can go ahead and play our... I don't really think it matters what land. I think we can play Overgrown Tomb tapped. See what our opponent plays. We'll most likely take the damage here. We can Fatal Push and pay for the Esper Sentinel. So that's nice. Go ahead and take the 3. Another Tidal Sculler from our opponent. We can actually Archmage's Charm the Esper Sentinel here. The problem is if we Fatal Push the Tidal Sculler, they'll just get the charm again, but I think that's okay. So we'll pay for the Esper Sentinel here. Get our Archmage's Charm back. So now our opponent has the option, what card do you want to steal? Because whatever they don't steal, we can play. So if they take the Wilderness Reclamation, we can steal the Esper Sentinel with Archmage's Charm. If they take the Charm, we have Nightpack Ambusher, which, I don't know. Do they have many ways to answer the Ambusher? I've got to imagine they sided out their removal. Oh, they take the Ambusher, which really screams that our opponent does not have an answer here. I really want to take the Esper Sentinel right now so that they can't ephemerate it. So grab an island here. So we can take it and pay. Okay. Esper Sentinel is ours. Now the reason why I didn't go for the Wilderness Reclamation first is because I would not have been able to pay the 1 for Esper Sentinel, and our opponent would have drawn a card, which I do not want in this matchup. Very curious, so our opponent seems to not have an answer for Nightpack Ambusher whatsoever. Good to know. That's a big part of why I have it in this deck. Main board. You can tutor for it with teachings. And it's an excellent threat that synergizes very well with our deck. That's exactly what we did not want to see. Stoneforge Mystic. We did not want to see that. Really, we have to draw an answer for it right now. That's not an answer for it. It's definitely going to be tough here. Opponent, Tidal Scullers, all the different discard in their deck, and we do not have Veil of Summer in our sideboard currently, so that may be something to look into. Very interesting. Our opponent did not put the Cauldron into play. Choosing just to attack with his Tidal Sculler. We have some good draws, we have some terrible draws. That is a terrible draw. Okay. Alright. We are going to start off 0-1 here in our league. We'll see you guys for round number 2. Alright guys, welcome back to round number 2 here in our Magic the Gathering online league. Sultai Wilderness Reclamation. We are on the draw once again. Decent hand, nothing special. We have the 3 lands. I got a couple removal spells. Remand isn't always welcome sight. Our opponent plays a Gilded Goose. Interesting. Okay, well, you know the old saying, bolt the bird, right? So the question is, what do we fetch here? Just a swamp? Maybe we'll just fetch a swamp. I think there's a good chance this our opponent here is on Ponza. Could also be the food deck, so I've seen green-red variations of the food. The Asmore. Interesting. Wow. Not sure what our opponent's playing here, but it's going to be spicy, that's for sure. Okay, so go ahead and pass with remand up. Opponent seems to be playing 5 colors. Oh, okay. So this is the token producer. I've seen this deck before. Combos off with Arcbound Ravager. Very interesting deck. Luckily, our remand kind of saved our butts here. We do have a couple remands, so really helps us make our land drops, helps us tempo out the opponent a little bit. Also helps us get our land base up and running. So, for example, I can fetch for a Triome here. Okay. So looking pretty good. I think we can go ahead and fetch another island just to thin our deck out. Very important. One thing I've been considering, especially after round number 1, is maybe going down to 24 lands. Currently we play 25. It is very important to make our land drops, but we also have a lot of different ways to churn through our deck. So that is a consideration I'll be looking into. Okay, opponent passing. I wonder if they play Collected Company. That's one thing that's on my radar here. Okay. Oh, I think the long game favors us. Is this a Collected Company? We definitely can't let that resolve. Oops. Draw another Cryptic. Okay. So our opponent's going to get to resolve a card of their choosing. I have not seen Cryptic Command in the list that I've played of this deck. So that's really good to know. Because otherwise I probably would have saved the remands. Okay. So we can kill this, and I think it is necessary to go ahead and kill this. Ground Catacomb, so... Okay. Alright. Seem to be in good shape here. Trying to play a little bit fast. This deck does take a while to close out the game. Our opponent's deck has a lot of value. I think we can comfortably counter this. So we had the option of Fact or Fiction or Cryptic there. Chatterfang is one of their big token producers, and Disciple of the Vault is one of their combo cards. Along with Arcbound Ravager. Okay. Honestly, just thinking about Nexus of Fate here. Just to kind of get a redraw. Let's see. Go ahead and fetch. Grab an island. I think I want to get a redraw here. Looking for Wilderness Reclamation, really. Okay, Snapcaster, that's an excellent draw. Okay, so the Nexus of Fate paid off. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. See if they play a land, or they have 4 spells. Okay, if they go to combat, that's fine. Yep, that is fine. We'll take 1, go to 15. So we have access to Snap Remand even with Factor Fiction here. What I'm really looking at is Collected Company here on the end step from our opponent, but again, we do have Snap Remand for this. So okay, so they go for... We can actually just counter this with Drown in the Lock. So we can snap, Drown in the Lock, and then we can drown, counter target spell, their Collected Company. So black and blue. Okay, and resolve our Factor Fiction. Very spicy one of here in the deck. They put the Nexus in one pile. We're definitely taking pile 1. That's a no-brainer. Because Nexus just ends up shuffling back in. So there's the Wilderness Reclamation, so that should be lights out. So let's go to combat. Attack our opponent. Let's go ahead and Growth Spiral. Fatal Push. We will put a Breeding Pool untapped into play. Go ahead and Fatal Push. Disciple of the Vault. We will play Wilderness Reclamation, please. Okay. Alright, opponent's seen enough. Okay. Alright. So, it's a very creature-heavy deck. I think Dispel would be excellent against Collected Company. I really like that idea. It is a food deck. I'm not sure if Hurkyl's Recall would be appropriate. We do need to be able to kill things, that's for sure. So, killing every creature they play, I'm considering Surgical Extraction. So here's what we're looking at there. Echoing Decay, Dispel, and Devour Flesh. Dispel may be too cute. I think Dispel may be too cute. So what would we want to cut here? All the removal seems great. What do we think they're going to bring in? They could be playing Graveyard Hate since they saw the Snapcasters and things. So what would we do against that? Maybe trim another Snapcaster again. We could trim a Drown in the Lock if they're going to bring in things like Rest in Peace. But that would be a non... I'm expecting Leyline because that would be a non-bow with their Disciple of the Vault. Because these spells wouldn't be going to their graveyard. So Remand gets a little bit worse. Archmage's Charm a little bit slow. What if we play like that? Let's try it like this. See what our opponent brings in. Okay, so we have the Fatal Push once again for their Mana Dork if they do end up playing one on turn 1. Oh. Sorry, I forgot to say good luck to our opponent. We have a decent hand. A little bit of a painful mana base, but we will keep. Okay, no Mana Dork from our opponent. Wow. That is tricky. I think we can go ahead and shock in Overgrown Tomb. A little bit awkward because we don't have the double blue for the counterspell, so that is a consideration. I wish this Overgrown Tomb was a fetch and then we'd be in business. Okay. Yep, so we have the Fatal Bush for this. Thankfully we shocked in that Overgrown Tomb. Well worth the 2 life. Okay, another Fatal Push, an excellent draw. So we also have Growth Spiral. Again, I wish we had a fetch land so that we could put in a fetch land and then have access to Fatal Push here. That would be excellent. Let's go ahead and Growth Spiral. Maybe we hit the fetch land. We do not. Okay. Fetch land would be a great draw. That's a bad draw. Okay. So yeah, those 25 lands are looking better, I guess, than the 24 we were talking about last game. Tireless Tracker. That's a good one. That is a good one. Wow, these draws are killing us. Well, if our opponent puts anything into the graveyard, we can kill one of their creatures with Drown in the Loch. So we can Fatal Push the Reckless Fireweaver, which then gives us enough cards in the graveyard to be able to Drown in the Loch, the Tireless Tracker. Okay, they have a Collected Company here. Which again, we don't have the double blue for. Wow, what a terrible Collected Company. Okay, so unfortunately, again, we have to untap. Okay, that is an excellent draw. So, we can Wilderness Reclamation here. We gotta get rid of that Tireless Tracker. Upkeep Drown. Black and blue. So really unfortunate that we don't have access to another blue so that we could hold up Counterspell this turn. We would be in a really good spot if so. Okay, opponent plays Arcbound Ravager. It's gonna get really scary with the Ink Moth. Okay. That's pretty good. So if we Abrupt Decay the Ravager, which I think we need to, see what our opponent does. They can turn on the Ink Moth, sack all this nonsense. I think we have to yield to this. Basically just forcing our opponent's hand. Yeah, we're gonna be taking some poison, that's for sure. Six counters. Okay. So that's gonna be a 7 poison. Now one thing we can do here is we can actually float a blue and then bounce the Ink Moth. So float a blue, green, untap, blue, blue, bounce, draw. Okay, and we draw the Fatal Push. Okay, we may be stabilizing here. Opponent finds a Shatterfang. I'm not sure that we want to kill it. If we draw a fetch land, yeah, I think we can't kill it. Don't draw the fetch land. That is really unfortunate. We can factor fiction here, though. Okay, see what our opponent gets. Echoing Decay. Can't see that Shatterfang, sorry. Okay, it's a 3/3, so Echoing Decay doesn't necessarily do anything against that. Desperately need a fetch land, so whatever this fetch land, yeah, we will be choosing pile 1 for sure. Okay. So we can fetch basic swamp. Fatal Push the Shatterfang, and have access to Remand, Nightpack, Ambusher, or Counterspell, depending on what the need arises. This is why Wilderness Reclamation is so good. Okay, Gilded Goose. Wow, I really want to kill... I don't have a way to kill the Academy Manufacturer, unfortunately. So he swings with the Manufacturer. Okay. We'll flash in Ambusher. And go to blocks. Okay, that's really good news for us. So we draw here. Watery Grave. Go ahead and swing for 4. Play the Tar Pit. And we can pass the turn. Actually, okay. So this is good because our Ambusher... Oh, okay. Our opponent concedes. I was going to say we can actually teachings. What's great about this interaction right here is that you can actually put the Wilderness Reclamation on the bottom of the stack so that your Nightpack Ambusher will resolve first. You'll create the 2/2, and then you can respond to the Reclamation trigger, and you can actually grab teachings out of the graveyard, and it still counts as you not having cast a spell this turn, even though you will be casting a spell. So awesome. So spicy deck from our opponent. We are 1-1 in the league, and we will see you guys for round number 3. See you then. Alright guys, welcome to round number 3 in our Sultai Wilderness Reclamation Exploration. I'm very excited. We had an awesome game last game. We are on the draw again, so we are 0-3 with our draws. I see our opponent has Luris. We gotta keep this hand. So there's no removal. I'm a little bit worried about Ragavan. Seeing Luris is always scary. Very scary. Opponent fetches a Blood Crypt untapped. See what they decide to do. I'm honestly hoping they... Okay, so they go for the Inquisition. So it could be some kind of black-red mid-range. Could even be like a Jund style deck. They take our Snapcaster Mage. Probably a good choice. So grab a Misty. See what our opponent decides to do. Okay. So we've got to assume we're up against Jund here. So Jund with Lurrus. They thought sees us. It is what it is. Let's see what they decide to take. We have 4 very powerful cards in our hand. A lot of card advantage in our hand here. So Jund playing Lurrus. I'm guessing that there are Ragavans, Tarmogoyf. Wow, our draws have been excellent. So I'm anticipating Ragavan, Tarmogoyf. Yep, definitely on Jund, okay. Ragavan, Tarmogoyf, the new Dothy Voidwalker. See what shenanigans they're up to. Expecting a Liliana here, maybe? Okay, Dragon Rage Channeler. Interesting. Okay, that's fine. Lightning Bolt. So they're lightning bolting us. Okay. Kind of want to remand that. Just to get a redraw here. Okay. Drew the Reclamation. Really need a removal spell. We'll be in good shape. That's a removal spell. So we can play Watery Grave tapped here. Okay, see what our opponent decides to do. I actually want to drown this now. Our opponent cannot have Liliana because they have Lurrus. Okay. So I'm playing around it for no reason. So go ahead and drown that now so they can't get another Surveil trigger. So we know they have Lightning Bolt in hand. Okay, they go ahead and Lightning Bolt us. And a Death Shadow. Wow, I was not expecting a Death Shadow. Okay. So our opponent is on Jund Shadow. If we remand it, they can just replay it, and then we won't have a way to counter it, so I think we just have to go ahead and counter this. Opponent has 1 more card in hand. They do have Delirium. We'll be taking 2 here. Another light. Oh, they Lightning Bolt themselves. Okay, Overgrown Tomb is a fantastic draw. I would have preferred a basic forest, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Okay, they draw the fetch land, sure. Puts Lurrus into their hand. Okay, well, we will bounce draw. Excellent draw. Now we're talking. Okay, draw another Cryptic. So we have Remand for the Lurrus. We have Fatal Push for the Death Shadow. If our opponent draws exactly a discard spell, that'll be rough. Okay, they go right for the Luris. We can actually counter draw. I think that's better. Because we can always Fatal Push on our turn. Okay, we draw the fetch land. Good draw. Okay, there's a Death Shadow we knew about. One unknown in hand. I've got to imagine some kind of removal. I think we can get a redraw here with Nexus. Oops. Let's float our mana. Trigger resolves. Okay. Alright, we can safely pass the turn here. Well, safely. I mean, that's definitely questionable, but we can pass the turn for sure. So we have access to Remand, which is not the best against their deck. They have a lot of 1-drops. Tarmogoyf, that is a remandable spell. Draw another land. I probably should have fetched before I remanded just to thin the deck a little bit more. Grab a Breeding Pool here. Draw the Fatal Push. Wow. Okay. That's a really good card against their deck, seeing as it kills literally everything. Moto taking its time here. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Little technical difficulties there with Moto, but we're back. The only thing you miss is he played the Tarmogoyf, played a land that he drew, and passed to us, and we Fatal Pushed the Tarmogoyf. So we are both having terrible draws. Opponent draws another land, as did we. Just thinning out these lands best that we can. Okay, Fatal Push. If we draw any kind of card advantage, this game is just done. Mystical Teachings, Fact or Fiction, even Cryptic, really. I've got a feel for our opponent here. They really are not drawing well. Who's the control deck, me or them? Okay, they just, I think they just fetched those lands out of frustration. Wow, we draw another land. This is amazing. The shuffler's broken, guys, that's for sure. What does our opponent draw? They drew a non-land Tarmogoyf. Okay. We will Fatal Push that. Grab our last fetchable. Nope, we have one more island. Please! Play out the Wilderness Wreck. We're gonna be in trouble if they draw a relevant card. Mishra's Bauble. Okay, could be worse. So they know what card we're drawing. Is it a good one, opponent? Is it a good one? Okay, Bauble. What do we got? Forest! Wow. Okay, no sense in slow roll on that. They know about it. So they're definitely gonna have a playable card here. This has been an awful game. Finds the Tarmogoyf. Okay. What do we got? Another land. Wow. This is unbelievable. Well, let's see. Does our opponent have the Teamer Battle Rage? Let's find out. Do they have the Lightning Bolt? No. We get one more draw. A Drown in the Lock. That does keep us alive, maybe? Opponent with 3 cards in hand. Attacks with Tarmogoyf. We Drown in the Lock. They have 3 cards in hand. We draw a Snapcaster Mage. What could they possibly have in their hand? There's just no way we're not dead. Inquisition. Well, I think we have to Cryptic. What do we do here? Do we bounce Snapcaster draw? If we 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we don't have enough to do that. Let's counter draw. Another land. Abrupt Decay. Oh, wow. I don't know. Is our opponent slow rolling us? Are you slow rolling us, opponent? They dismember. Sure. Okay. We have 3 lands and Abrupt Decay and a Dream. Opponent plays a land and passes the turn. We draw a Blue Sun Zenith. That's gotta be it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then so that's our Mana Cost for Zenith. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 3 is 9, so that's 15 plus another 9. Just trying to think if we can mill out our opponent. That has to be game. If we Zenith ourselves, we draw, oh, I don't know, 7 cards? So we can just grab, at this point it should just be trivial. We should be teachings for a Nexus of Fate. Flash back the teachings. For a Blue Sun Zenith. Last trigger here. Okay. safely get rid of the lands. Plays a Tarmogoyf, that's fine. Okay, that should be the game. Cast a Nexus of Fate, take an additional turn. I think we can Abrupt Decay the Tarmogoyf. We can Teachings. Or a Nexus of Fate. Play our little Snapcaster. Fatal Push, okay. So now we are officially out of bowl range. Okay. Go to combat. Attack ya. Alright. So our opponent knew they were dead, they just let us play it out for time purposes, which, hey, that's fair enough. Okay. Devour Flesh. This is a blowout, look at this. They gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Man, could you imagine? Devour Fleshing a Death Shadow? That seems excellent. Echoing Decay kills Luris. Kills Chandler, maybe? Really, those are the cards I'm looking at. I've got to imagine that there's going to be some kind of like ley line coming in. So I think Remand is especially bad against their deck. I think we trim 2 Remands here. Their whole deck is 1-drop, so doesn't exactly do a whole lot. Okay, we're gonna have to play fast here. We had technical difficulties in game 1. Sorry about that, guys, but we are back. 2 fatal pushes and enough lands to last a lifetime. That's a keeper. So they mulligan again. Our opponent really has had bad luck, so if they would have drawn any relevant card, we would have been dead last game, but hey. We drew the Blue Sun Zenith before they did. Okay. Blood Crypt pass. Interesting. Interesting play from our opponent. We'll play a Misty and pass. Opponent plays a 0/1 Tarmogoyf. I think we can grab a Watery Grave here, just for tempo purposes. Normally I wouldn't fetch Shock, but I think in this matchup it's warranted. Okay, so got a couple options here. We can play Drowned Catacomb to represent Counterspell. I think what I really want to do is just play the Triumph tap. That way I can have access to triple blue on turn 3 for Archmage's Charm. So I had the choice between bluffing the Counterspell. Oh, so our opponent plays here. Thoughtseize. They take our second Fatal Push. Now they play another Tarmogoyf. Okay. Certainly good. And we draw Assassin's Trophy. Wow. Okay. Opponent, Blood Crypt, untapped, 2 cards in hand. A Death Shadow. Sure. Puts Luris into their hand. I think we can safely trophy this. They get to grab a basic. See what basic they choose. Swamp. Misty Rainforest. Okay, so now we have the option of stealing the Death Shadow with Archmage's Charm, which would kill it. Okay, they draw a card with Peatland. Attack us with Death Shadow, that's fine. Definitely take the damage this turn. They're gonna fetch Shock, so if we steal it now, they would be able to play Luris. They would be able to play Luris and play a Death Shadow. Skyclave Apparition. Wow. They've already played their land per turn. I think this is definitely putting us into a position, isn't it? We can always Teachings for a Fatal Push. I can grab us basic Swamp. The problem is they have Luris in hand, which we really cannot let resolve. Really get my colors correct here. So we take their Death Shadow. And a Scourge, okay. This is going to be tricky to navigate, no doubt. So if we go Teachings for a Fatal Push... we attack, they block with the Channeler, and then they can play things next turn. So if I Fatal Push this Lurrus now, they attack with Scourge, I block with Shadow. So we have to block the Scourge, obviously. Okay, they drew a Lightning Bolt. Okay. Which gives them Delirium? Yes. Okay, we go to 1, so we cannot fetch. That's rough. Yeah, not sure. It was really the Lurrus that got us. Yeah, we are dead. Okay. Yeah, really that Lurrus play. Let's run it back. I feel like there was definitely a way we could have won that match. What the teachings for. Yeah, definitely a very awkward game. Okay, so now we have 2 lands. I think we can safely put the Cryptic back. Okay, our opponent did not mulligan this game. Okay, go fetch a Triome. So, plan to just kill this Channeler here. Yep. Kill it while we can before he gets Delirium. Because otherwise, yeah, Echoing Decay doesn't really do a whole lot. Does nothing against Tarmogoyf. 99% of the time does nothing against Death Shadow. 99% of the time does nothing against Scourge of the Skyclaves. If this is a Tarmogoyf, oh boy. This devour flesh. Land? Wilderness Reclamation. So our opponent back up to 19. Back down to 16. I'm guessing they put Luris into their hand. Luris into their hand. There's the harbor. Okay. We play the Reclamation. We untap. Go to our opponent. We have Snapcaster Mage. Opponent plays Verdant Catacombs. Fetches. What's the play, opponent? They lightning bolt themselves. Okay. They play a Death Shadow. That's fine. Let's play a Snapcaster Mage. Devour Flesh. Devour Flesh, you opponent. Oops, sorry. They go back to 13. Unless they don't. They lightning bolt or Snapcaster Mage, sure. Abrupt Decay. That's a good draw. Okay, so our opponent's going to get Luris value here, for sure. Unless they screw it up. Scourge of the Skyclave, okay. Is our opponent really going to run out Luris right now? That would be a big mistake from them. Wow, they do. Okay, they play the bauble. So our opponent has given us a small window in this game. This Scourge is going to get big very quickly. We have a lot of draws to get rid of it. Growth Spiral. Not the worst. Okay. Alright, well, we're still alive and kicking here. Opponent with 2 unknowns in hand. They fetch. They do not shock. Opponent attacks us for 1. Sure. Okay. Gotta kill the Scourge here. That's a redraw. take our redraw. Draw a land. Okay, well, we're back to game one, where it's Battle of the Top Deck Wars. Our opponent is going to have 3 in hand here. Very scary. They play a Death Shadow. Come on. Good draw. That's the opposite of a good draw. Okay. We're gonna be on a 2 or 3 turn clock here, so we need to draw some good cards ASAP. Okay, we take 3. Unless they Lightning Bolt themselves, which they've been known to do. Teamer Battle Rage. We take 6. We draw Island. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent, what do you have? 2 cards in hand. They play another Death Shadow. It's starting to get scary. Another island. Wow. Okay, well, see what we draw. See what our opponent has, rather. We may be dead right here. Okay, Dragon Rage Chandler doesn't do it. We go to 3. No Lightning Bolt, and we draw a land. Alright, good game, opponent. That was 5 lands in a row off the top, so unfortunate. We are currently 1 and 2. I will see you guys for match number 4. Alright guys, welcome back. Match number 4 here. We are on the draw again, so we have lost every single die roll. We have a 1-lander, so those 2 things are not good. Okay. We will keep this hand, so we have 4 lands in hand. I've got to imagine we'll be drawing another one. We can put this breeding pool back, I believe. We have a very slow hand, but I don't think we can mulligan to 5. Okay, we draw our 4th 4-mana spell after putting our 4th land to the bottom. Sure. Okay, our opponent seems to be on some kind of teamer list. I've got to imagine it may be the Cascade lists. Can't even cast this Abrupt Decay. Wow. Well, if our opponent goes for the Cascade right now, then I don't know what we're going to do. They do not. By some stroke of luck. Okay, they do it on our upkeep. Be sure to play around force. Okay. So they Cascade into Living End. Or, oh, Crashing Footfalls, rather. Okay. This is just comically bad. Okay, let's go ahead and go to game 2. That was the worst ever. Just everything about that was bad. Okay, wow. Well, our opponent is on the Cascade list. Spell seems good. Aether Gas could be good. Surgical could be good. Let's see. What's too slow in this matchup? Don't think we'll need Pulse. Abrupt Decay seems to do absolutely zero. Aether Gust is just really questionable. It's good against specifically Footfalls, but only not one. Fatal Push does very close to nothing. Maybe we keep one in just in case. And we'll bring in one of Surgical just to Teachings for. Let's run it like that. Okay, on the play here. So we have lands and spells. We'll keep. What a terrible game one. Just an absolute terrible. I mean, games like that. Excuse me. Games like that just really make you wonder, like, what's, you know, really make you question playing the deck. Okay. Opponent starts with Gemstone Caverns, and they exile a Violent Outburst. Grab our Triumph. Opponent played Hollow Fountain tapped. Okay, Drowned Catacomb. Pass the turn. So we have Remand up here. Overgrown Tomb. Okay. This is gonna be a grinder. Opponent no fourth land. We will play Overgrown Tomb and pass. Okay, plays the fourth land. I think I will flash in Nightpack Ambusher here. Opponent flashes in Subtlety. Do we want it on the top? I guess. This is going to be a tricky one. We're going to get beat down a little bit here from the Subtlety. Steam Vent's untapped. Let's try again. Another Subtlety. Very unfortunate we don't have Mystical Disputes. Okay. Well, truthfully, we're just gonna die to the Subtlety. So, yeah, not sure what we can do about that. Opponent's a better flash deck than we are. Amazing. we trophy one of their subtleties. Violent Outburst. I'm guessing this is Crashing Footfalls. Yeah, I'm not sure what we do against this. Opponent just outvalued our deck with the subtleties. Free counterspells definitely beat out our traditional counterspells. That is for sure. Okay, good game, opponent. So 1 and 3, and we will be back for round number 5. All right, guys, welcome back to match number 5 in our league. We are on the play for the last game. It's our first time on the play. We have a 1-lander, and we're sending it back. Okay, got a couple lands here. It's a much better hand. We will keep. What spell do we not want? So last time we put a land to the bottom, we were severely punished. Fatal Push could either be the best card or the worst card. Maybe we put a Cryptic back. Opponent get mulligans to 6 as well. Good luck to them. Arid Mesa. I wonder if we're gonna get Burn. Goblin Guide. Wow. Okay. Show us what we have on top, opponent. Drowned in the Lock. Well, I'd like that card, but I do not want to take 2 damage, so let's grab a basic Swamp. So it seems we actually made the correct decision for once, putting the Cryptic to the bottom. And keeping the Fatal Push. Only problem is we do not have access to green mana here for a Growth Spiral, but it's gonna have to do. Opponent suspends Riftbolt. We draw an Abrupt Decay, which we cannot cast again. So we have access to Snap, Fatal Push. We're going to be getting Rift Bolted here. Okay, we get Lightning Bolted on their end step. One thing to note is that there's no Luris in their deck, so we don't have to worry about that. Skewer the Critics. I'd really like our opponent to play some more creatures, please. These spells we just don't have any interaction for right now. Drown in the Lock. Okay, that is a playable card. So we will have Drown in the Lock for 1 spell, and then Snap Drown for another spell next turn. They pass the turn. We draw a Teachings. We go ahead and drown that. chance we could just be dead here to land Bolt Boros Charm. Opponent is giving us a fair chance here by passing. Draw a Cryptic. Interesting, very interesting. Opponent passes the turn. What can we teachings for here? I would love to get Pulse of Marasa, but we would just be dead. I think we just grab a Cryptic. Another uncastable card. Basic Forest would be an excellent draw. Opponent draws another land, sacks the canyon. No, they don't. Okay. I just think we need to cycle this Cryptic. Draws a counterspell. Opponent is letting us untap. We draw a Hinterland Harbor. Now we're talking. Okay. What does our opponent have? Searing Blaze? They now have 6 cards in hand. 5 cards in hand. I think we go for Growth Spiral. Put an island onto the battlefield. We draw a Polluted Delta, which I'm not particularly keen to crack. A Goblin Guide. We do have an Abrupt Decay for the Goblin Guide. See what we have on top. Drowned Catacombs, that's a good one. Okay, so let's Abrupt Decay. Holding up Cryptic still. I will not go to 6, thank you. Basic Forest. That's a draw. We're drawing all these untapped non-fetch lands. These are great draws. We essentially have 3 counterspells in hand, one of which is actually counterspell. So let's Growth Spiral. Put a forest into play. So now we can Pulse of Marasa, so we can teachings. If they have exactly Boros Charm, I don't think they have it. I'm gonna go for it. We can teachings for Pulse of Marasa here. And then we have access to Snap Pulse of Marasa. They could have a Skull Crack. I really want to Pulse on their upkeep. Let's Pulse on their upkeep. Okay, it resolves. Okay. That should be game. I don't know what 5 cards they have in their hand. What could they possibly have? So now we play Snapcaster Mage. Target Pulse of Marasa. Still in the end step. Let's fetch. Grab a Triome. Tapped. Cast Pulsamarasa, targeting Polluted Delta. Opponent has the Skullcrack this time. And the Searing Blaze. Okay. So we were wondering what our opponent had in hand, but it seems that they were saving up there. Draw a Misty, so we'll play the Polluted Delta we got. Okay. We don't have any more ways to gain life in our main deck, I believe. So now we're going to be on the kill our opponent plan. And the way we're going to do that is thus. We're going to Teachings. We're going to get a Night Pack Ambusher. We draw a Nexus of Fate. Opponent lightning bolts us. Well, let's counterspell. So our Pulsamarasa being exiled is very unfortunate. It would have been great to remand our own Pulsamarasa. Just so we can put it back into our hand and then cast it from our hand and then cast it from our graveyard again. Basically giving us one more use. So now we can Night Pack Ambusher here. See what our opponent decides to do. Okay, they let it resolve. This is the turn that I'm afraid of. Okay, they go for the fetch. They could just have 2 lightning bolts here. They go for the Searing Blaze. I'm gonna have to fetch. I'm gonna have to fetch down to 5 to counter this. Counter draw. Opponent has 1 card in hand. They don't have a 5 mana or a 5 damage spell. So we're gonna put the Night Pack Ambusher trigger on the stack. Okay, so we'll respond to the Ambusher and Nexus of Fate. Okay! Opponent scoops it up. Nice. Alright, that was close, as usual, against Burn. So we have Weather the Storm, Life Goes On. Those are going to be obvious ones. We have Devour Flesh, so we can sacrifice our own creature. Aether Gust as another counterspell. This one I'm less sure of. Okay, so what do we not want? Blue Sun Zenith is just going to be way too slow, I think. Way too slow. Fact or Fiction, I just think is going to be too slow. Even Wilderness Reclamation isn't particularly good. So if we have these spells, Aether Gust is just a 2-mana counterspell, really. Or removal at that. So that's better than a 3-mana counterspell. That's better than a 4-mana counterspell and maybe Trim of Teachings. And I think we just get super lean and run it like this. Okay. I don't think we need any combo elements. I don't think we need any of the fancy value. We just need to be a pure control deck and just kill their threats, counter their spells. That's all it comes down to. Interesting that the one game we win the die roll is against Burn. So that's probably pretty good. Okay, we have 2 lands, one of which is a shock land, which I'm not excited about. We both keep 7 cards. Opponent shocks in Sacred Foundry, plays a Goblin Guide. How about a basic Swamp Goblin Guide? Reveals Cryptic Command, the card we put on the bottom. So if we shock in Overgrown Tomb, we're taking 2 damage either way, right? Either from the Goblin Guide or from Overgrown Tomb. The problem is, so we can actually play this tapped. So if we play Overgrown Tomb tapped, and here's why. Because so we'll get the Goblin Guide trigger. Because we're going to take 2 damage either way, from Goblin Guide or from Overgrown Tomb. We have the Fatal Push in hand. But what we can do by waiting a turn is we get this trigger, so maybe we draw a land. And in addition to that, we have Life Goes On here. Ooh. Okay. Okay, we get the land. Okay. So we play the Harbor here. We Fatal Push the Eidolon, which is arguably better than the Goblin Guide. And then we gain 8 life with no Skullcrack up. Back to 22. Snapcaster, Life Goes On. How about that? That's what you call a combo. So we are at 22. We get another land. Wow, this Goblin Guide is really helping us out. We're back to our starting life total of 20. Opponent skewers us. We find a Wilderness Reclamation. We can pass the turn here. We have access to Snapcaster, Life Goes On. Opponent gonna attack first. Goblin Guide reveals a Fatal Push. Let's play Ambush Viper. Target Life Goes On. I'd like to block, please. Go to blocks. So our opponent either has Skullcrack here or the game is over. Really is what it comes down to. They play Rest in Peace. Some technical difficulties here once again. Last time it took a minute, guys, so I'm gonna give it about 60 seconds, and if not, I'll go ahead and cut back to the game. But anyway, our opponent's casting Rest in Peace. We are going to respond with casting The Life Goes On. If our opponent has Skullcrack, okay, so our opponent needs exactly Skullcrack, otherwise the game is over. Okay, they fetch. I guess they have Skullcrack here. Okay, they have the Skullcrack. Okay. Sure. Yep. Okay. So they have the Rest in Peace, which is fine. We got our value from the graveyard with Snap. Let's play the Wilderness Reclamation. Untap our lands. Opponent cracks Fiery Islet. Lava Spike us, eh? Let's counter draw. Draw a Tar Pit. We draw a Cryptic Command. Let's go ahead and, oops. Go ahead and Growth Spiral here. Put Creeping Tar Pit into play. And then let's Abrupt Decay. Their Rest in Peace. Untap our lands. Okay, so now we have a clock with a Tar Pit. Opponent plays another land. Another Abrupt Decay. Let's fire up our Tar Pit. Opponent lightning bolts our Tar Pit. Well, yeah, you should have waited until we attacked with it, opponent, because now we can Cryptic. Okay. Alright, so we win the match there. Yeah, small little mistake from our opponent, but that was a fun match. We ended up 2-3. We were very close to the 3-3 against the Death Shadow matchup, so yeah, very interesting game. Let's take a look at the deck here before we end. So here's the deck, guys. Sideboard, everything. Main deck, thoughts? Yeah, it's tough because what do we do against these heavy discard decks? I think that Veil of Summer needs to be at least a one of in here, so just finding what to cut is going to be tricky. Maybe the 3 Surgical Extraction is too many, and we just need to go down to the 2 Surgical Extraction and just have a Veil of Summer in here. You know, to be able to Teachings for. That's definitely a thought. Otherwise, the deck seems pretty good. Requires a lot of resources to function. The matchup against Cascade seemed really bad. Not sure what we could do there. I don't know. Void Sphere. Something along those lines in the sideboard, maybe. Maybe a Chalice. That's one thing I thought about. Maybe a couple Chalices. So, anyway. We ended 2-3. Hope you guys enjoyed the league. I will be coming out with another video very soon. I plan to run it back with a teamer list. I've been really experimenting with this teamer list, trying a lot of different iterations. So, yeah, I look forward to trying it out and seeing you guys there. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.